You have seen it 100 times. That old 9-pin serial port on the back of a drive, a PLC, an HMI, an instrument. It looks ancient, and it is. But that port is still how a huge amount of industrial equipment gets configured, even today. It is called RS232, and it refuses to disappear. So what is RS232 actually doing, and why is a serial standard this old still on the bench? In this video, I will explain what RS232 is, starting from plain serial. Then the pinout, transmit, receive, and ground on that DB9 connector. How you actually connect two devices, and why a null modem cable matters. Where RS232 still lives on the floor. And finally, how it differs from RS485. Let us start with the wire. Quick note before we dig in. This is from PLC Simulator, where you can practice serial comms, PLC networking, and the rest of this video free, right in your browser. No install, no hardware. The link is in the description. Click the link in the description to try it free. Now, back to the serial line. Start with serial. Serial just means sending data one bit at a time down a wire, instead of many bits side by side. RS232 is the classic serial standard, that old 9-pin port. And the way it signals is the key thing to understand. RS232 is single-ended. Every signal is measured against one shared ground wire. The receiver looks at the voltage on the line and compares it to that ground. The voltage swing is deliberately large, anywhere from about plus or minus 3 volts up to plus or minus 15 volts. That big swing makes it robust on a short cable. But it has limits. Single-ended means any noise the cable picks up rides onto the reading, so the practical range is only around 15 meters at fairly modest speeds. And it is point-to-point, one device on each end. Not a bus. Now the pinout. RS232 usually shows up on a DB9 connector, 9 pins. There are pins for handshaking and flow control, but the three you care about most are these: transmit, receive, and signal ground. TX, RX, and GND. TX is the pin a device sends data out on. RX is the pin it listens on. And GND is the shared ground reference that makes the single-ended voltage readings mean anything. Get those three right, and two devices can talk. The catch isn't how they connect, and that trips up almost everyone the first time. Here is the catch. For two devices to communicate, transmit on one must reach receive on the other. Your TX has to land on their RX, and their TX has to land on your RX, with a common ground tying both together. The wires have to cross over. That is exactly why a plain straight-through cable often does absolutely nothing between two devices. Both are transmitting on the same pin, into each other, and nobody is listening. The fix is a null modem cable. A null modem simply swaps TX and RX between the two ends, so each device's transmit lands on the other's receive. If two serial devices refuse to talk, the cable is the first thing to check. So where does RS232 still live? More places than you would think. Legacy device configuration and firmware setup. A lot of older gear only exposes its settings over serial console. PLC and HMI console ports for diagnostics. Serial barcode scanners, scales, label printers, and older lab and test instruments. A huge amount of perfectly good, expensive equipment on the floor only speaks RS232, which is why a USB to serial adapter is still standard kit in an automation engineer's bag. Modern laptops dropped the port, but the equipment did not. Finally, RS232 versus RS485, because people mix them up constantly. RS232 is single-ended. It reads a signal against ground. It is point-to-point, one device to one device, and it tops out around 15 meters. RS485 is differential. It reads the difference between two wires, an A and AB pair, so noise that hits both cancels out. And it is a multi-drop bus. Many devices share the same two wires, running reliably to about 1,200 meters. That is why long, noisy, multi-device runs on the factory floor move to RS485, usually carrying Modbus. When the two worlds have to meet, you drop in an RS232 to RS485 converter to bridge them. I have a full video on RS485. It is linked below. So here's what to walk away with. RS232 is a single-ended serial standard. It reads a signal against a shared ground. It is point-to-point, short range, around 15 meters. The 3 pins that matter are transmit, receive, and ground. And the wires have to cross, which is why the null modem cable exists. It is still everywhere on legacy gear, console ports, and serial peripherals. And where you need long distance or many devices, RS485 takes over. Get that, and every serial port on the floor stops being a mystery. Now, go make it concrete. If you want to practice serial comms and PLC networking hands-on, click the link in the description to start free at plcsimulationsoftware.com. No hardware, no install. Subscribe. New video every Tuesday. See you in the next one.